this a quick screencast on a nice method for providing full screen web apps, but also invoking a minimum size so that you can retain your layouts. Got a blank project here, and I'm going to put together a quick interface to demonstrate what it is we're trying to solve. So if we have an interface page here, quite often I'll start an app by either a container or a component, placing it, and this contains the entire app. Everything else is a child of it, so it's called container 1. The idea, I'm going to size it, constrained on all four sides with a 10 pixel border. Oops. And I'm going to also put a background color so we can see it properly. So if we save that and run it, start up the server, you'll see we have a container that sizes with the browser window right up and right down. Allows people to use your app with different size screens. Here's where the issue comes in. If we wanted to add a grid to our interface and did the same thing, let's make it constraint based to fill that container. Let's do a 20 pixel pad on all sides, save it and run it. You'll see it sizes nicely, but they do become unusable at a point. So maybe you're right about here is where I would want to stop sizing down and maybe have the scroll bars invoked of the browser. Keep the layout intact, and that's what we're going to do now. So if I bring up the project browser again, I'm going to go to Outline, Document, Event. We're going to implement this in the onload event. So I'm going to click on load. We're going to add it. You'll see it added a scripts folder with the index.js, and that's the file we're in now. And I'm going to add the code primarily for what we're doing right here. So I'm going to make a few variables. V minimum height. We're going to make that say 400 pixels, and you can pick whatever values you want here. Minimum width, maybe you have one value for different types of apps may be different, but anyhow, you can choose the minimum width and the minimum height. That's what those two are. And then we've got a border which we'll want to keep maintain, and it's 10 pixels in this example. We're going to use some jQuery and some Wakanda commands here, or functions. This is $1 means jQuery, and this is we're going to work with an event, jQuery event called resize, and it's the resize event of the window. So that's the browser window. When the browser window resizes, which will be many times as someone drags, we are going to call a function which will be passed an event, and this is the function we will run whenever the window is resized. There's two individual things we want to track. We want the height and width may hit that minimum threshold independently, so we want to do these independently. So if, and we're going to use the jQuery window, and we'll do the height first, height function. So this will return the pixels high of the browser window. If it's less than v minimum height, then we want to do this code. Else, this code. And we're going to use some Wakanda functions here. We'll call the container 1. That was the name of the gray container, as you remember. So we're going to call this Wakanda function on container 1. And we're going to call the setHeight function. And we're going to pass it the height value that we want. Now if it goes below the minimum height, we basically want it to stay at that minimum height and go no smaller. So the set height will put the minimum height minus the border. Now the border is at top and bottom, so we want to minus the border times 2. Else, we basically want to do the same thing, except we want to base our size not on the minimum height, but on the window dot height. So if it's below the browser windows less than our minimum height, we will not go below the minimum height we specified here, 400 pixels. If it's larger, then sure, work with the window and go as large as the user wants. That's for the height. Now we're going to copy that and paste it, and we're going to modify this for the width. And the functions are very similar. I've done similar variable names, so if the window width is less, then it's not set width the way Wakanda function, or set height, it's set width. And we're going to base it on the minimum width. Same border. So this again is going to be width. And the window width is what we're basing it on. And we'll save that. And there's one last step we need to do in this index. So in order for browser scroll bars to be invoked, we need to change something in the CSS. I'm going to go Styles, New, CSS file, and these properties are going to, I'm just going to call it My Style, so you'll get a dialog. You'll see that we now have My Styles. This body, these properties are going to overwrite what's currently in there, and the one we need to work with is a property called Overflow. We're going to go Overflow is going to be Auto. So we'll save that. Last step, back to the index page, we need to load that CSS file. So we'll go to Document, Properties, Style Sheets. We're going to add one. You'll get a pop-up for a file. I'm going to cancel that and just drag this one right into the spot. Then I'll save, and we should be all ready to run. Now before we do, I just want to double check the code here. Make sure it's going to work. So window size, if it's below, oh, here's the problem. It's not, you need a dot when you're calling these functions. The Wakanda container dot set height, dot set width. That looks better. Let's give it a whirl. Just been sloppy here. You can see I'm missing here a bracket as well. Sorry about that. Oops, not there. Missing it here. So if missing that bracket. Hold on. Having a bit of a brain issue here. Okay, so if we got this bracket to the if, that's right. We got this bracket to this if, that's correct. Okay, let's run it. So okay, we've got our data source sizing properly. Let's see what happens when we hit a minimum. It's not working. Hold on. So I do pause the movie each time before I try it, and I made a typo here. I was wondering what was causing all the problems. Border. Let's save that, see if that fixed it. Hopefully. Sorry about that delay. Okay, so we've got a sizing component. Let's see what happens. Please. No. Refresh. Ah, there we go. Finally, it's working. Sorry about that. So now if we size this window small vertically, you'll see at some point we get scroll bars from the browser so that we can maintain a certain size. Likewise, individually, if we do it this way, there's the browser invokes the scroll bars. And it will go as large as we want it to go, and as small as we like. So there you go. Hopefully that works. Sorry about the confusion in the screencast, and I hope it helps you out.